Hey everyone, my name is Dale. On this channel I do spec for spec comparisons, and today I'm comparing the Toyota RAV4 Hybrid XLE versus the Hybrid Woodland Edition, and the question is it worth spending the extra money to get the Woodland Edition? I used to work for the equivalent of a Kelley Blue Book if you're in the US, or a Glasses Guide if you live in Europe, and I used to advise manufacturers on what spec adds value to their vehicles, and now I do this on YouTube. Now if you don't have time to watch this video, I do have a website called checkyourspec.com linked below. Basically you can check your spec. You can click a button right up here to check your spec, pick a car or van, any manufacturer you like, any model you like. Go down, you'll get a massive list of options to run through. Click any of those that you like to see the spec value. You go down to step 3 and basically it's going to tell you the value of that specification, like adaptive cruise control on a RAV4, air conditioning. We can look at the future value and it tells you at the bottom here basically what it's worth, and you just pick a model that you're interested in, a 2021 model, a 2024 model, today's value, etc. But enough of that, let's get straight into it. So you can ignore the column on the far right hand side for the LE. We're just concentrating on the Hybrid XLE and the Hybrid Woodland Edition. A little bit of housekeeping. I'm not going to value any options today. This is just a spec for spec standard equipment comparison, and this is based on a typical 3-year finance agreement. So you buy the car today, you plan to get rid of it in 3 years time, and you're wondering whether you should jump up to get that Woodland Edition, and what that's going to be worth. You're going to spend $1,710 over a Hybrid XLE to get the Woodland Edition. How much of that $1,710 are you going to get back when you come to sell it? And that's what we're going to talk about today. So as we scroll down, we can see initially you're going to spend either $33,810 or spend your $1,710 to get to go to $35,520. Now, first thing, zero value on alloy wheels. If you've seen my videos before, you can skip ahead, but basically as a valuation company, advisor, consultant, whatever you want to call it, we don't add value to alloy wheels. If they go from steel wheel to alloy wheels, we will add value, but if they go from 18-inch wheels to 18-inch wheels on 2 different trim levels, 18s to 20s, doesn't matter. We add zero value. It's too hard to track in the data, which is why valuation companies do not do it. As you can see here, there's just a multitude of different alloys on just these 3 vehicles that you can select. So that's why we don't do it for every vehicle in the world. We'll keep scrolling down. We've got a rear activity mount. So I've added $150 for this. So it's not a tow bar, but it looks like somewhere where a tow bar can go in. And it's basically, as you can see on the right hand side there, it's for bike racks. So it has a weight limit. You put a bike rack in. Nice convenient option to have. This is like the outdoory Hybrid Woodland Edition. You know, you're meant to be out there in the world, in the forests. However, this has been marketed to you. And one of those things that it should have a bike rack on the back because that's how it's been marketed. And it seems like a good option to me to have as standard, so I've added $150 to that. We'll keep scrolling down to our next piece of standard equipment, or a couple of them here. So we've got dual chrome tipped exhaust on the XLE, and we've got dual black chrome tipped exhausts on the Woodland Edition. Slight visual difference, and we generally give more value to visual differences just because it's easier to sort of understand the value a little bit better when you see it out in the open world. Tiny value, $50. Obviously, if you want to pay more because it's got black exhausts, you're going to pay more, but as a general value, it's around $50. Low profile black roof rails is standard on the XLE, and you get unique raised black roof rails with crossbars. So the unique means nothing to me. Toyota would have to speak to me about what's unique about them. But the crossbars, for sure, you know, it's going to give some extra structural rigidity. God, I could barely get that word out. And probably gives you a few more options on what you can actually mount on the roof rack. So again, a reasonably decent piece of standard equipment there. Front and rear mudguards, $75. You can pick them up online for a reasonable price, but if Toyota are putting those onto the vehicle, they're branded. They've got the warranty behind them in case anything gets damaged or broken. Yeah, it's worth the extra money. So $75 for those. We'll keep going down. We have got on the Hybrid XLE the color keyed heated power outside mirrors with turn signal and blind spot warning indicators, and on the Woodland Edition it's exactly the same, they're just black. Again, because it's changing the visual appearance of what that vehicle looks like, you have to take that into account for the resale value, and because it's kind of a package deal with everything being black on this vehicle. But if you just took that component, I reckon around $100. So let's say it was just a spec for spec, the same as the hybrid XLE, and it only had black wing mirrors and nothing else, then that is the value that I would assign to it. So it's the same sort of thought process that goes behind it. And then we'll come down, and I bundled these two together, but basically on the Woodland Edition you get black exterior accents including outside door handles and rear hatch garnish like you're putting something on a plate, and then you get black outside door handles with touch sensor lock unlock feature on the front doors. Bundled those together, I think that they're worth around $250. Just again to sort of emphasize the black pack variant of this this Woodland Edition. They should have really just called it the black pack or the black edition, to be honest. And then we'll scroll down to our next bit of standard equipment. So this gets a black Woodland Edition decal, or decal, however you want to say it. I've put a little bit of value to this. Normally you'd think, it's just a sticker, it doesn't mean anything. I won't get into this too much, but basically if there's a lot of vehicles that go through auctions around the world, and when you go to an auction you maybe have a couple of minutes to walk around a vehicle to see if you're interested in it, and when it's going through the hall physically you have maybe 30 seconds up to a minute. Having a badge on the back will help the resale value generally over not having it, and this is what we would advise manufacturers to do. If it doesn't have a badge, it actually makes it harder to sell generally, and will hurt the residual value rather than having the badge on the back. And I've had discussions with many manufacturers over why they should put badging on their vehicle. They obviously want to take them off because it is an additional cost. Even it costs them cents on the dollar, you times that by a couple of tens of thousands, it gets very expensive very quickly just for some little tiny badges or stickers. But from an auction point of view, it's very important to have trim levels and stickers on the back or around your vehicles so that people walking around can bid accordingly on those vehicles. Again, that's like really high level. I'm not going to get too deep into it, but that's why there's a value against a black Woodland Edition decal. And then we'll come down to, I think, some of the final options. We've got Woodland all-weather floor mats and cargo liner. They can be quite expensive online if you want a decent set of all-weather floor mats. So I've added a decent value to those for the Woodland Edition. So $100 for those. Probably worth a lot more to some people who go outdoors more. Probably worth less to people who just sort of want to navigate to, you know, Starbucks, wherever you want to go. And we'll come down. Okay, this is it. The final piece of the puzzle. 120 volts or 100 watt AC power outlet in the cargo area. If you're going to use it, it's important to you. There is a little bit of value there. It's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. And that's the principle on the way this has been priced. So I priced it at $25. So ultimately, what you pay is $1,710 to go from the XLE to the Woodland Edition. What I think all that spec is that we've just talked about, I think it's worth $825. So you're going to lose over 3 years $885, which I think is actually very, very good. So if it was me and I was in the market and I was cross-shopping between an XLE and a Woodland Edition, I would just jump up to Woodland Edition. You're barely going to lose any money on it. It looks better. And it might get more money than this in the used market going forward because it's a bit more unique. You get a bit more of a unique paint job if you pick the green color there, because it's not available on the other trim levels, and also the gold alloys as well. So they look really good as an overall package. So that's my advice, my opinion. If you like the video, please like it. If you want to see more of these, I do try and do these every single day. Please subscribe. And comment below if you want me to compare two vehicles that you are interested in, and I can do anything. I used to do this for many, many years, but any vehicle you want me to look at, I can look at and compare for you. I appreciate your time as always. See you guys in the next one. Cheers.